Theological Pipe.
I've been expecting you.
There is a God, and
I speak German.
I'm not him.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. Glad you're here. Want to kind of tell a kind of a touching, serious story that kind of maybe exemplifies or kind of puts a nice spin, not even spin, but just a good focus on what Christmas is all about, and really recognizing who we are as it comes to Christmas and gifts and Santa and Jesus. And so this is a story of a little boy. To protect his identity, we'll call him Timmy. And so Timmy, he's 8 years old, and he is getting ready to write a Christmas list. He wants to make a list of all the things that he wants for Christmas. And he's fairly smart. He says, I'm not going to write a letter to Santa Claus because I know that Christmas is about the birth of Jesus Christ. And so I'm going to address my letter to Jesus. I'll send it to Santa or whoever. He's 8 years old. He doesn't really concern himself. He's going to give it to his mother. His mom and dad are going to send it away. But he's going to write his letter to Jesus, and he's going to list all the things that he wants for Christmas. And so he grabs a notepad, and he flips over it. He grabs a pencil, and he takes the pencil, and he starts to write, and he says, "Dear Jesus, I've been a really, really good boy for this whole entire year, and here's what I want for Christmas. Number 1, a new bike. Number 2, PlayStation 5. Number 3, and he starts listing off 3, 4, 5, 6 things. He gets to about number 6, and he stops for a second, and he reads the first line where he said, "Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy all year." And he kind of thinks for a second. He remembers who Jesus is from his Bible study classes, his kids church that he goes to, and he's like, I can't lie to Jesus. So he takes that piece of paper, he crumples it up, he throws it in the trash. He gets his pencil out, and he starts writing again. He says, "Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy for 8 months. Been a good kid for 8 months. Here's what I want for Christmas. Number 1, a new bike. Number 2, PlayStation 5. Number 3, number 4. He starts reading the first sentence again. "Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy for 8 months. He starts thinking again. He's like, and he just takes the piece of paper, he crumples it up, throws it in the trash, starts to write again. "Dear Jesus, I've been a good kid for 6 months. For 6 months out of this year, I've been a good kid. Here's what I want for Christmas. Number 1, a new bike. Number 2, PlayStation." He doesn't even write 5. He takes the piece of paper, crumples it up, throws it in the trash. He starts to write again. "Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy for 3 months. Been a good boy for 3 months this whole year. Here's what I want for Christmas." He stops, he takes his piece of paper, he crumples it up, and he throws it in the trash. "Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy for 2 months. He takes that piece of paper and crumples it up. "Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy for 1 month. Here's what He takes that piece of paper, crumples it up, and throws it away. And you can tell he's getting frustrated. He's 8 years old. He's thinking about how he's been a good boy, bad boy. He knows if Santa Claus knows if you've been a good boy or a bad boy. Jesus really knows, and he doesn't want to lie to Jesus. So he writes again, "Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy for 2 weeks. I've been a good kid for 2." He crumples that piece of paper up and throws it away. He says, "Dear Jesus, I've been a good boy for 1 week. For 1 week this year, I've been And he just kind of stops there for a minute. He crumples up his piece of paper. He throws it in the trash. He puts his hand in his head in his hands. He's kind of thinking. He starts to look around, and he's wondering what's going on. And as he's looking around the house, he looks into the living room, and he sees the nativity scene that his mother had set up. And he kind of stares at it for a minute. He gets up from the table, the kitchen table, and he walks over to the nativity scene, and he looks at it, and he sees the animals, and he sees the 3 wise men. He sees the shepherds. He sees the baby Jesus in the manger, and he sees Mary, and he sees Joseph sitting by the baby in the manger, and he just kind of stares for a minute. He's kind of transfixed by the baby Jesus in the manger, and he sees Mary, and he sees Joseph, and he thinks of his own mom and his dad. And so he picks up Mary, the figure of Mary, and he kind of stares at it, and that little face, and Mary's face, if you're watching on YouTube, her head is usually cocked to the side. She's like, oh, baby Jesus. But he's looking at Mary, and there's just that look of understanding in his eyes, and he holds that figurine of Mary, and he takes it back to the kitchen table, and he sets Mary right next to the pad of paper that he's been writing on, and he looks at Mary again. He takes up the pencil, and you can just see a sparkle in his eyes, like he recognizes what he needs to do, and he says, "Dear Jesus, if you ever want to see your mother again, put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals."
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.